nth roots. So just to review, we did the square root. I'm going to show you how to use this chart. So if you look over here, this number is the index. So the index is the number that goes in the radical. So this is a square root. The index would be 2, although we don't write it. We have cube root of something. That's our index. So up here is our index. So if we're doing the square root, this is the list that we made when we were doing square roots, but now it's right here for us. So square root of 36 is 6. Okay, if we do the square root of 49, looking at our chart, square root of 49 is 7. Remember, if it's not a perfect square, we have to break it down. So if we do the square root of 28, you want the biggest perfect square that goes into or divides into 28. So you're looking at your list. Always start big and get smaller because you want to find the biggest one. So 28, 25 doesn't go into 28, 16 doesn't, neither does 9, but 4 does. So we break it up, square root of 4, square root of 7, which gives me 2 radical 7. One more review, square root of 98. So start big, square root of 98, you're just dividing, so you're using your calculator or your number sense. 98 divided by 81 gives me a decimal. 64 doesn't go into it. 49 does. So we do the square root of 49. Oops. Times the square root of 2. Square root of 49 is 7 radical 2. So we're going to be doing the same thing, except it's not just going to be square root anymore. It's going to be the cube root, the 4th root, the 5th root, 6th root, and so on. So let's start off with the 7th root of 128. So if it's a perfect root, we'll just write the number. If not, we have to break it down. So since we're on the 7th root, we're in this column right here. So first you're going to look for the number. If we don't see the number, then we're going to break it down. So if you look, the 7th root of 128 comes out to an even number. The 7th root is 2. Next one is the 6th root of 4,096. So we have an index of 6. So the 6th root of 4,096 is 4. So that means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equals 4,096. Next, we got the 5th root of 7,776. So we go to the 5th root right here. We look for the number. We slide all the way to the left, and we get 6. Okay, the next one we're going to do is 5th root of 486. So again, we're on the 5th root column. This time, the number is not in our list. So remember, if it's not a perfect root, we have to break it down. So just like radicals, we write the 2 radicals, and don't forget your index right here, because if you forget it now, you're probably going to forget it on the final answer. So write 2 just like we did for radicals. Remember, I'll write it up here. So we want to find the biggest 5th root that goes into this number. So you're still looking at this column. So 486, 5th root. So the first one we would start with is 243. So again, you're just plugging into your calculator. 486 divided by 243. See if it goes into it. It actually does. So 243 times 2, just like radicals. And then we simplify it. So the fifth root of 243 is 3. So we have 3 fifth root of 2. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do the fourth root of 32. So we're looking here at the fourth root. We don't see 32, so that means we have to break it down. So let's set up our two radicals. Okay, so the biggest perfect root that goes into 32. So we're on the fourth root column. So 32, so we start right here, 16. It's actually the only one we can check. So 32 divided by 16 is 2. Now, when you're breaking it down, do not forget that we're doing the fourth root. A lot of people just see the 16 under the radical and take the square root. It's not the square root, it's the fourth root. So the fourth root of 16 is 2. So we have 2 fourth root of 2. Next, we got the cube root of 54. So the cube root of 54, look for the number, whoops, wrong one, right here, not in there, so we break it down. Biggest perfect cubes that go into 54 is 27 times 2. The cube root of 27 is 3. So 3 cube root of 2. Let's try the cube root of 135. Break it down. Final answer. Okay, try the next two on your own. We'll do the fifth root of 96 and the seventh root of 384. And don't forget to have your index there. Write it nice and small. Seventh root of 128 is 2. Seventh root of 3. So it looks actually pretty similar to the last answer. Okay, let's do the cube root of negative 250. So if you remember, if we took the square root of a negative number, say negative, let's do 36. Remember, we would say no solution. That's our I, that's imaginary. But we can do it if our index is odd. So if the index is odd, negative under radical is okay. Even index, negative under radical is going to be our no solution. So square root, fourth root, sixth root, Okay, so since our index is odd, then we can do it. So the negative's kind of just going to come out. So when we break it down, we want to find the biggest perfect cube that goes into 250. So if you kind of have good number sense, you can see 125. So we're going to do the cube root. We're always going to take the negative out first. So we're going to do negative 125 times the cube root of 2. So when we do the cube root of 125, we're going to write negative 5. So negative 5 cube root of 2. All right, try this one on your own. Cube root of negative 875. So it actually is 125 that goes into it again. So again, we're going to take the negative out first. So negative 125, we're going to make it. And this time it's going to be times 7. So the cube root of negative 125, just like before, is negative 5 cube root of 7. Final answer. Okay, and then try these last 4 on your own. 5th root of 224, 4th root of 648, okay, so final answer, we get 2, 5th root of 7, 3, 4th root of 8, and 2, 4th root of 6. Now remember, when you're writing it, make sure this index, make sure it's really small, make sure it doesn't look like this, 2, 4th root of 6, because that looks like 24. So make sure you write it nice and small. All right, last 3. So we're going to do negative 3 on the outside, and then it's going to be the cube root of 162. So I'll just go over here. Remember when we did this with square root, say 4 square root of 50? So we would leave the 4 on the outside. We'd break down the 50 to 25 and 2. 4, remember, it's all multiplication between each term. So 4 times square root of 25 is 5 times the square root of 2. So final answer, we have 20 radical 2. So same concept, but now with cube roots. So we're going to leave the negative 3 alone for a second, and we're going to break this down. So the biggest perfect cube that goes into 162 is 81 times 2. $27 times 6. So we have negative 3. Cube root of 27 is 3. And we leave the cube root of 6. So final answer is negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Cube root of 6. Okay, let's try another one together. We'll do 4 on the outside. Cube root of 40. So 4 times, break this down, we're going to do the biggest perfect cube that goes into 40 is 8 times 5. Cube root of 8 is 2. Final answer, 8 cube root of 5. Okay, make sure you're nice and neat because as you're working, you don't want to be multiplying by this 3 or something. That's the index. So I'll give you 2 to try on your own. -2, 5th root of 64, and 6, 4th root of 567. And that's a 5. So we got -2, 5th root of 32, 5th root of 2. -2, 5th root of 32 is 2. Final answer is -4, 5th root of 2. And over here, we got the biggest 4th root that goes in a 567 is actually 81 times 7. 4th root of 81 is 3. Final answer is 18, 4th root of 7.